Hello world, welcome to my channel, Proteus Augustus. I'm an artist, scientist, and American Constitutionist. Today is November 7th, 2023, and the U.S. Supreme Court just heard oral arguments in U.S. v. Rahimi. That's another gun rights case. This one was brought on a restraining order. Right? And each side made the standard arguments that you hear in all these cases. Right? Now, putting aside Bruin for a minute, what I can't understand is how none of these lawyers argue whether the government has the right to issue a protective order or not. Right? They don't address that, do they? Right? Because when they issue a protective order, regardless of due process, what they do that under is that they have the authority to protect one citizen against another citizen. I don't see that legal theory anywhere in constitutional law. The federal government's job is to protect this nation as a whole and people's right to due process in the courts of law to deal with these kinds of things, right? Now, when they refer to law enforcement, I split that baby. There's police powers and then there's law enforcement. The police on the street are exercising police powers. Their job is to investigate crimes and bring those crimes to the courts to get justice and enforce the law. Right? That's what the process is. There is nothing in legal theory other than created by modern legal theorists in courts of law that says that the courts are there to protect people, right? Listen, an individual in this country is an individual because they have certain rights under the Bill of Rights, right? And under the Constitution of the United States that we're born with, right? That means that each citizen has to take that seriously, that whether they fall, they're going to have to get themselves up. They can't always expect to reach their hand out and have somebody help them up, right? That is a communist tenet, right? That you need all of these other people to help you in your life, right? And that has morphed into these young people believing that they have no responsibility for even their own lives, right? So when the feminist movement came in and got into our legal system, right, they started pushing their feminist agenda every which way that they can take power away from an individual citizen. And in this case, it's all men. It's all men, right? They could say it's this domestic violence applies to homosexuals and all of that, right? But that's, you know, please, this, you know, what we're talking about here is just the concept itself, that the government has a right to issue a protective order. Listen, a citizen cannot constantly claim to be a victim and not take any course of action as an individual citizen to protect themselves, i.e., woman could leave the house, man could leave the house, same-sex partner can leave the house, right? Go to a family member. You ain't got that, go to a shelter, right? Arm yourself, right? If you maintain a relationship with someone that wants to harm you, you have a serious problem yourself. So how am I supposed to believe that you're not the one causing the conflict in the domestic relationship? Not only that, right? Then they get into dangerousness. You know, dangerous is like obscenity, right? What's dangerous? I mean, they can't even decide. I mean, look at all the porn you look at, right? What's obscene? They can't say that, right? That's an individual introspective, right? Now, if somebody's offended by something, you know, there's courses of action they can take if they feel that their rights will be violated. But the fact that you're you're in a bad relationship, or the fact that, you know, you're not happy with the world, does not mean that you get to harm other people, right? And so, let's say that, I mean, what's dangerous? A guy goes out in the street and he got to deal with men every day that are probably more dangerous than him. But because these people close to them don't, and there's a lot of reasons, right? I mean, I'm an example of that, and I'm going to be dealing with these guys over here in Nevada, right? There ain't nobody in my life that could say anything that could take a firearm out of my hand, okay? And they're doing it, right? And I hope it's the VA, really, because I could put it all in one nice, neat package, right? The fact that an agency thinks that they have a right to deny me a right is absurd. The whole thing is absurd. And to do it behind my back. Meanwhile, I'm getting firearms pulled on me all over the place out here. These guys have no respect for men. They have no respect for business. They have no respect for human life. These motherfuckers out here probably have the IQ of 100 if they're lucky. They don't even got the common sense to leave this place and go make a better life for themselves somewhere else in the country. They just dig themselves deeper into this motherfucking hole. I come out here to see what's going on, and I run into all this, and all of a sudden, somehow I'm the problem because I'm defending myself against all these interlopers into my private life. Listen, people, this is America. I got a right to privacy, right? I got a right to freedom of association, right? That means if I don't want you around me, stay the fuck away from me. I'm very clear, right? I don't associate with criminals, man. Don't try none of that shit with me, right? You know, don't try no nonsense with me, period. I ain't paying off no cop. I ain't paying off no fucking politician. None of that shit is happening, okay? Now, right, these are the people I got to deal with every day, right? What if they go crazy off on me? All of a sudden, I can't defend myself anymore because somebody said something they don't like about my behavior. This is absurd, people, right? So I got to put myself on trial now. I'm being forced to go to the court. I'm still waiting for the state of Nevada to tell me who the fuck it is that's taking away my right to a firearm. So I know who to sue, right? I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't give a shit. Listen, man, they act like a firearm is the only way to off yourself, right? I got a 7.5-inch blade right here every motherfucking day, right? I cook with blades, right? I got broad tips over here that if it hits somebody, it will put a bigger hole in them than a 500. Right? You people are insane. No, the whole thing is designed to disarm the American male, right? And Justice Sotomayor just couldn't help herself, right? See, what you have to understand about human behavior is that a lot of it is predictable, right? I'm just sitting there waiting for her to say something that has nothing to do with law, just to jab her own politics into it. And sure enough, she cannot, you know, she ain't going to deny it. She going to come out and say, oh, I don't believe you. What you're really saying is that, you know, back then, white Protestant guys could beat up their wives and nobody cared about it, right? I mean, here's the Supreme Court justices now bringing up white men, okay? Again, this is the philosophy, ladies and gentlemen, that they're pushing. See my first video of this whole YouTube channel where I write a poem when I started this whole thing. Listen to that poem. This is what they're doing, man, right? They think that somehow unseating the white man is going to make the world better. No, they just want the power. And they will take the power any which way they can, right? That's why we're in trouble in this country today, because the jurists like Sotomayor. right, that wants to sit there and instead of being a jurist of academic prowess, wants to argue political stances that have nothing to do with legal theory. So what if the guy said that? Oh, well, you know, back then, guys, there was domestic violence. There was no laws on that, you know, because society might have been the way it was back then. That's not the point. But that's the jab she's trying to make, right? So not only do they not address whether the government has a right to issue a protective order that violates a fundamental right of another citizen, right? They don't address that, right? And then they don't address what dangerousness is. I mean, what's dangerousness? People think I'm dangerous. Apparently, the people that are holding up my firearm think I'm dangerous. But they're a shadow government. They're not telling me who they are. They're not telling me why they're taking it from me. They're forcing me to spend my money to challenge them so I can go hunting or whatever I want to do with that firearm. I don't have to explain that to them. It's a fundamental right. Okay? And when women are with men who have firearms and they don't like it, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else, find another guy. No, you see, this whole thing is about shifting the power to the female in the household from the man. You could write a book on this. I could write a book on this. I watched it all happen. I watched them rip the women out of the house, and then I watched the corporations say, oh, this is great. Now we got two people working, right? Meanwhile, they just jack up the inflation. Sure, it killed the Soviets, right? But they're not stopping, right? They're still doing it to us, right? Every 10 years, they make us come up with make us have to be more productive or end up in a homeless shelter. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. These people are ridiculous. So anyways, all of this is about shifting power from the man to the woman. All of it. All of these challenges are not going to protect anyone, right? A guy does not need a gun to kill his girlfriend. Ask all the guys in prison who strangled their girlfriends to death with their own bare hands. Okay? This is a bullshit argument, right? What about the blades in the kitchen? Right? I mean, listen, it's just an attack on a fundamental right because the communists want to take over the world, right? Because in order for the world to be communist, they have to take all of the governments, all of them have to do it. Right? And now what it's boiled down to is the United States and Israel against all these globalists and the communists. And Putin is too stupid to figure out that China's biting his asshole while he's fighting the globalists in Ukraine. Because he ain't fighting America. No. This is the Democratic Party and the globalists that started this. Then they push us, right, to have to defend ourselves after they start this bullshit with Russia. This is all a globalist plan, right? Believe me, this isn't a conspiracy. Look at the outcomes. Again, outcomes. Doesn't matter how the outcome, you know, manifests itself in the corporeal world, right? It is what happened, okay? And you have to deal with it, right? I can explain why it happened. I've been talking about this for 20 years. I fight these people in the courts every time they try to take my shit, right? Believe me, these people are dangerous, right? And, right, so, you know, this hearing is a perfect example, right, of a legal process and legal theory that has been dipping its toe in communism, right? Instead of individual freedoms and liberties, right? If somebody dies, they die. But these politicians, they want to just you know, they live on blood and debt. They do. And they promise everybody, like they did with Trump. This woman needs to be disbarred. Again, another problem with the legal system. She is another example of a sodomite. Right? God help us if these people take over our legal system. We will have no rights. We will be living in a communist country. They'll kill us at will. They'll do whatever they want with us. Right? Just like the Chias over in China. And to think that the President of the United States is going to bring that guy over here on our soil, right, after he started COVID, right, is an insult to the American public. It only shows what Biden's true colors are. Because let me tell you something, I wouldn't even let that man smell the same air as me. Oh, no, no, oh, no. That guy's got to go. These communists got to go. I don't give a fuck. Like, they want to take over the world. They get into our institutions, into our courts, make it all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States and the personification of a woman like Sotomayor, right, who is a travesty, right? Her legal skill is minimal, right? All she is a politician in a uniform pushing this garbage on the American public, trying to say that it's legal, right? Oh, you really insulted me, you know, as a white man. I'm not a Protestant, I'm a Christian. But you insulted me to make, in the U.S. Supreme Court, you insulted me and every other white guy in this country to think that we think it's okay to beat our women. Really? Really? How does this happen? How does a woman like that get on the Supreme Court? But anyways, the bottom line is, you know, if you apply the Bruin case to it, right, there was no protective order. Where's the history of protective orders? No. This is a new law. This is a new system. This is a new legal theory that the feminists put in place to shift power from men to women, right? You know, that's all that there is to this, because it's not going to protect anybody. None of these gun laws protect anybody. And you know what? It makes me vulnerable, right? I've already had several firearms pulled on me. The only ones that saved is them. I'm just lucky the dudes didn't shoot me, and I know how to get out of situations, right? Why? Well, I'm going to be finding out because they're running out of time. They're supposed to have 45 days to send me this, right? So I got to sue everybody. I got to sue the state of Nevada now for not letting me have my firearm and find out who did that. I got to sue the Veterans Administration for all of this nonsense that they did. It's all on my channel. I'm not going away. I'm not going away. There's nothing crazy about me. You see, the thing is there's something up in here, right? It's called the brain, right? And it's got all of these like convoluted freaking pathways and all this other stuff, right? And you can make it stronger. You can learn a lot. And all these guys that walk around with all of these accoutrements on them to tell the world how powerful they are, they ain't powerful than this, right? It don't matter whether I win or lose. It doesn't. What matters is I stand up to them because I'm a man, right? And I know what the law is, and I know that they're wrong. I know that there ain't no bureaucracy in the United States that can follow me around like I'm their slave, right? Tell the authorities not to work with me. Tell my attorney not to talk to me. All of this is coming from somewhere, right? I am as sane as the sun is going to come up tomorrow, right? For you to see. It's still out there right now. Anyways, I just want to say that this Rahimi case basically has to go down, right? I mean, people need to understand their situation and learn how to deal with it. Either that or we're all going to be slaves. You can't just put in a protective order, a system of, you know, of literally just, you know, putting the truth into somebody, right? And you know, just go away. You know, just deal with your life, man, right? The government is not there to protect you, right? Get a life, educate yourself, be with the right people, right? I just don't see how this case can stand based on the fact that they can't define what dangerousness is. And I don't believe that the government has a right to issue a protective order, right? Because if somebody wants to attack somebody, they're going to attack somebody, right? It doesn't matter, right? Gun or no gun. There's so many ways. And guns are used ain't even used that much. They're not. Most of these domestic violence cases are knifings and strangulations, right? It's only what they do after they kill the person that makes it sicker, some of them. But anyways, you know, we need to have gun rights upheld, right? It's a right. It said it shall not be infringed. And they've been doing it my whole life. Right? And they're still doing it. The one time I want a firearm so I can go hunting and defend myself out here in the wilderness as a man, and they're telling me, oh, you know, the trees might be a little scared of you, right? Or the elk, right? You know, they haven't demonstrated a single human being that I'm a threat to, right? And they can't. And they can't, show that I'm a danger to myself. They can't, right? And even if I was, who the hell are they to tell me how to off myself, right? You see this thing right here? Do you see that, right? Why do I need a gun, right? Right? I got arrows over there, right? I could stuff one of them right through my chest if I wanted to, right? Who the hell are you to tell me what I can do and what I can't do when I'm with my maker? Right? That's between me and my God. That's not between you and me or my mother and me or the state of Nevada and me. Fuck you. This is my life. I'm not your slave. You know, and then that brings into the question of the 13th Amendment. What really constitutes slavery? Right? If relatives or family or spouses or government entities can follow you around, right? And determine the course of present these questions for you to deal with on a regular basis. Challenge your sanity, right? Attack you with other people under the guise of, oh, we're trying to help this guy. Listen. You know, this is just wrong. And I'll leave it at that, right? I know it wasn't a real legal analysis of the situation because I got to wait to see what they say. But again, can't explain what a dangerous person is. Can't demonstrate that the only thing that a person can use to commit the crime is a firearm. They're not saying he can't have a knife. They can't say he can't eat with a fork. They can't say that he can't wipe his ass with his hands. They're saying just guns. Right? Right? And they can't substantiate their right to issue a protective order. I mean, this is new law. Right? Anyways, till next time, think free, be free, and most importantly, eat free. We have another battle on our hands, and that's these people that don't want us to eat nutritious foods. They want us to eat the foods that they make with sawdust and glue.